and gentlemen,
This is 3 Count Review.
do I have everybody's attention now?
Welcome to the most must-hear wrestling podcast in history. Welcome to 3 Count Review. I am KO, aka Howard J. Dingers, and I'm here today to talk about Hell in a Cell and what an absolute dumpster fire that show. Okay, just a little preface. I'm probably going to get very angry, and I'm probably going to rant a lot about this main event. This was stupid. So, few quick things. There was no SmackDown review. I was at home for the weekend, and I did not have a studio. I had no really easy way to record, and it just was not going to work. So, I apologize for that. SmackDown was great. I tweeted all about it all night. I didn't do Hell in a Cell predictions because there were only 4 matches. There were only 3 matches before Saturday. So, like, I wasn't just going to do a prediction video for 3 when they were going to announce 7 others. You know, I just wasn't going to bother with it. If you're curious, I only got like 3 matches right. I made predictions as they came up, and I only got 3 of them right. So, great day for that. But anyway, let's talk about this main event. So, it was Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, versus Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell. Man. And so this started off good. I mean, the Fiend's entrance was awesome again. I love the Fiend's entrance. I love the Fiend, and I still do. I still love him. But he had this time, it wasn't as cinematic. It wasn't as cool as SummerSlam, but it was still good, obviously. And this time it had like flashes of red in it. It was a cool little touch to make it feel a little different, whatever. And when the match started, the red light stayed on. Now, I didn't mind this. It's a very split thing. You either loved it or you hated it, which is most things in wrestling. But I actually did not mind this. I thought it gave the match a good feel, a cool look. It made it feel a little more demonic. It made it feel a little more fiendish. I don't know. It was cool. Don't do it again. I think if you do it again, it undermines it and it devalues it. And then the Fiend matches start to become gimmick matches, much like Sin Cara did for a while. So it was cool. Don't do it again. But I mean, the match started off really good. It meant, Rollins was attacking Wyatt with kendo sticks, and Wyatt was no selling him. And then Wyatt was firmly in control, is doing a bunch of stuff with the cell. It looked really, really cool. But then, I don't know, Seth got a bunch of suicide dives in, and then Bray hit a Sister Abigail into the cage on the outside. Oh, man. And then Seth set up a table. Bray almost put Seth through the table, but then Seth super kicked Bray. Bray landed on the table, and Seth then frog splashed Bray through the table. And at that point in the match, which this is like 5 minutes in, maybe, I'm sitting there saying, this is too much offense for Seth. Way, way too much offense for Seth. And like I said, that was like 5 minutes in. And I think this match went like, I don't even know. It probably went about 20 minutes. I'll pull the thing up here. But like, and then after that, it's just a bunch of steel steps. And let's see here. Okay, 17:30. Too long. Too long. Should have went 5 minutes at most. Rollins hit the splash through the table. But then Bray got right back up after that. Curb stomp. Wyatt got back up. Another stomp. Got right back up. He went for another stomp. He got hit with a Sister Abigail for a near fall. So then this is when Bray pulls out his big mallet, his big hammer from the funhouse, the one he killed Rambling Rabbit with, right? He pulls that out. Remember that. But he uses it on Seth, like he pins Seth to the cell with it. And he just kind of he has Seth pinned to the cell, and he keeps hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. And then you go a little forward. Now, Seth has now hit anywhere from 12 to 20 curb stomps. And I'm not exaggerating. Anywhere in between 12 or 20 curb stomps. I'm not even exaggerating. It was a lot. So Bray is like down, but he keeps kicking out. Like at one point he was kicking out at 1. Seth even threw in a pedigree at one point, but he just kept kicking out. So Seth then did what looked like an unprotected headshot with a chair. It wasn't. It was completely safe. And then he put the chair on his head and hit the chair with the ladder. That didn't get it done. So then Seth put the chair in between the ladder and grabbed a toolbox and was hitting the ladder with the toolbox. What? That was stupid. And then okay. And then Seth is, he's sitting there thinking, and this is great storytelling, honestly. Like if the ending was different, this actually was like decent storytelling. Seth was thinking, what do I got to do to beat this guy? He won't stay. I mean, he is staying down, but I can't pin him. Like, what am I supposed to do? He goes into the ring and he sees a sledgehammer. He gets a sledgehammer, and it's actually a really great story that every time Seth goes to a dark place or he needs to pull out something to win, he goes back to the pedigree, he goes back to the sledgehammer, he goes back to Triple H. It's actually a really great bit of storytelling as far as Seth goes. He grabs the sledgehammer. He goes into the ring, and he's about to hit, but the toolbox is now on the ladder, which has the chair inside of it. So it's not like he really is the architect who's building something. I don't freaking know. So he goes to hit the toolbox, I guess, and the ref stops him. The ref says, no. What do you think you're doing? You're going to kill him. You don't know what you're doing, or something along those lines. Oh, man. The ref, successfully talked him out of it for a second, and Seth, kind of put the sledgehammer down and, leaned back in the corner and was it looked like he was almost crying. And then just, a split second, snapped and wound up and hit the contraption and where Bray's head should have been, I guess, with the sledgehammer, right? Immediately, and I'm talking immediately, no hesitation from the ref. The ref calls for the bell. I believe the official wording is no contest. I don't know. Referee stoppage. So it's a no contest. Although referee stoppage normally means the one guy's winning so bad. Like when Kevin Owens won the NXT Championship. Kevin was winning so bad that the referee stopped the match and Kevin won. So that means Seth won. I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, so then the cell starts raising. Meanwhile, this is all in red light, by the way. The cell starts raising. The medical staff start coming with a stretcher. They were going to put the Fiend on a stretcher. I'm going to try to get through this before I start my rant. They get the medical team in there. They get the board in there, and they're trying to move it. And then Seth, it looks like Seth goes in to try to check on Bray. I don't know. This was terribly done. It looked like he was going in to check and see if he was okay. And immediately Bray just mandible claw, and he's up, and he's beating up Seth again. Mandible claw. He throws him outside. Sister Abigail on the floor, rips up the padding. Sister Abigail on the concrete, and then mandible claw with what I can only presume is a blood capsule. And so he's doing the mandible claw while Seth is just spitting out blood. This was their attempt at making him look strong after he just lost. Let's be real. A referee stoppage means Seth won. They're not going to say that. They say the match ended in referee stoppage. No one won. We know that's not true. Seth won. The Fiend lost. We're going to have to accept that. It's going to take me a while to accept that, but we're going to accept it. Okay. There's a lot of points, and I'm going to try to stay calm through this. If you didn't want Bray the Fiend, if you didn't want the Fiend to win the Universal Championship, then why on God's green earth did you book him in a Universal Championship match with no disqualifications? And you didn't want to beat him. You didn't want him to have the title. So let's put him in a title match that we don't want him to win. Okay. Issue number 1 right there. Don't put him in the match. If you don't want him to have the title and you don't want to beat him yet, don't put him in the match. Number 2, he should have won. We've seen WWE, and I can only really think of 2 great examples. I'm sure there's a lot of more examples. WrestleMania 30 and WrestleMania 35. You can have multiple examples on WrestleMania 35. 30, Daniel Bryan. The WWE went with the crowd reaction, and they got one of the biggest stars of his generation out of it in Daniel Bryan. Put him over the moon. WrestleMania 35, just this last year, Kofi rode the fan momentum. One of the best WrestleMania moments, other than Daniel Bryan, who he beat in that match. We didn't want Brock as champion anymore. Seth won. I almost wish Brock would have kept it at this point. Oh man. And Becky too. All the way from Survivor Series, the week before Survivor Series up until now. I mean, they've been riding this Becky wave, and they are successful, and they have stars out of people who get over on their own. Seth didn't really get out of it. Becky and Kofi we're going to look at, and Bryan from WrestleMania 30. They got over on their own. They strapped the rockets to them. They let them fly, and it was good. It was fun. The crowd loved it. The product was better for it. And now you have a guy in Seth who people are already on the fence, leaning towards, I don't like this guy anymore because he's shit on Twitter, and he's getting really annoying with these championship matches. He's being overbooked more than Roman Reigns was. You put Seth up against the hottest thing in sports entertainment, in wrestling, in professional wrestling right now. I would argue The Fiend is hotter than AEW. Was hotter than AEW. Seth versus The Fiend. The Fiend needs to win that match. Because I don't think this was supposed to be a heel turn from Seth. Meltzer seems to think that it was. It didn't look like it. It didn't come off like that at all. Like I said, it looked like Seth was checking on Bray after the match. If that was supposed to be a heel turn, it was very poorly done, and even more crap on Seth for not getting that over to me. Or the commentators. The commentators were talking during the Fiend's entrance. Oh, I want Jerry Lawler off my screen right now. Okay. I'm really sorry. Ollie Davis on Wrestle Talk worded this perfectly. It's, as a professional wrestling fan, legitimately, I feel like wrestling depressed at this point. Because not only did they not give The Fiend the title, but it's the same almost the same screwy finish. We saw a no contest last year. Now we get referee stoppage this year. They're horseshit finishes that are just cop-outs because you guys booked yourself into a corner. We get that 2 years in a row now. We had the Ryback one all those years ago. And man, you didn't have to book him in the match. Once you did book him in the match, you had to give him the title. No one's gonna cheer Seth ever again. If he's a face, he's never getting cheered. If he's a heel, he'll get booed, but it might not be for the right reason. So you might as well turn him heel at this point if you haven't already. The Fiend is like, so The Fiend during those, when I was explaining the unprotected chair shot and the pedigree and then the ladder and then the toolbox and then the sledgehammer, The Fiend was laying in the middle of the mat, I think for 10 minutes, just laying there, never moved except for the kickouts. Do you know how shit that makes him look? It's honestly so frustrating. They simultaneously made him look unstoppable because he couldn't kick out or he couldn't get pinned, but they also made him look so incredibly weak because he was put down by so little. 17 and a half minutes. And he couldn't move for 10 of them. Literally extremely upset. If I know I like committed myself to watching these shows and doing these reviews and trying to make something of this. But God damn it, if I don't want to watch Raw tonight. I really don't. I mean, there's a part of me that does, and I'm going to. There's a part of me that does because I want to see what they do with this. I want to see if they can salvage this at all, which if anyone can, it's going to be Bray. But, oh my God. It's okay. The fact that they were going to put Bray on a stretcher. God damn it. And then the fact that they thought this would work. Seth looked visibly angry when the fans were booing him last night. The fans were chanting AEW. They were chanting restart the match. They were saying bullshit. They were chanting refund. They were pissed. Everyone was pissed. Twitter was pissed. Everyone that I've seen is pissed. No one, and I mean, I've literally not seen a single person, and I'm sure there's someone out there, but I have not seen a single person who liked this. This was bullshit. It was stupid. It was honestly ignorant by WWE to even try to do something like this and think it would work. It's ridiculous. So that was the main event of the show. I'm going to quickly go through the rest of the show. I have a little bit of time, so I can kind of go through these. So there was a kickoff show. Natalya versus Lacey Evans. You know, the match we've seen 3 times already. Natalya won on a sharpshooter. And now they're having another rematch tonight on Raw. So, that's awesome. Can't wait. So the actual card opened up with Becky versus Sasha. And this match was actually really good. I really enjoyed this match, actually. I think this was my match of the night. I really liked the tornado tag that came next. But that one started off a little slow for me. I really liked this match, almost start to finish. This match was really fun. A lot of innovative spots. There was one where they put the best spot, I think, in my mind, was they put kendo sticks in the corners of the cage, kind of like the Usos did for the penitentiary in their match. But they just put those there, and then they put a chair on top of the kendo sticks in the corner. So then Becky put Sasha on the chair and then drop kicked her into the corner of the cell, and it was a really cool spot. Meteor through the table, Meteor on the outside. I mean, just a lot of cool spots. And then eventually, I think Becky retains the Raw Women's Championship because she Bexploded her off the top into a pile of chairs, into the disarmer. Sasha taps. Becky retains. Awesome. I think Sasha should have won because this is now, in my opinion, a complete waste of a Sasha character who just returned a few months ago and was arguably the hottest thing in the women's division. And now she's lost 2 straight title matches. It's stupid. I mean, yes, technically she won the last one, but she didn't get the title, and now she lost this one clean. You ruined a character. It was a great match, don't get me wrong. You just killed another character. And I thought they would want Becky on SmackDown, so it just would have made a lot of sense. Apparently, I don't know what they're doing. We're going to have to see what they start doing next week. Literally next week after the draft on Raw. Oh, man. I still have 2 live radio shows to do today. Yeah, so that was that match. What did we have next? We had the Tornado Tag Team match, Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan versus Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. This was a fun match. It started off a little slow, like I said, but this was, towards the end, it was very well. I think making a tornado tag match was a great touch. It was very chaotic, very fun. Luke Harper's amazing. Rowan is good. Roman's amazing. Bryan is amazing. They were all really great, all the subtle little things. Roman speared Rowan through the table. Yeah, you heard that right. From one table to the other table. And then in the ring, Harper got a Superman punch, a running knee, and a spear. And Reigns and Bryan won. The big goats. Or the vegan dogs. I like that one better, actually. Vegan dogs. We're going with that one. The first random match of the night, we had Randy Orton versus Ali. And I guess it's because they... man, I don't even know. The only thing you need to know about this match, early in the match, Randy went for his RKO, and Ali countered it by doing a handstand. And Randy thought he hit the RKO, so he was sitting up and smiling like he normally does. And Ali, since he was doing the handstand, he got out of it and then rolled up Orton. Could have been the finish, honestly. Would have been great. But Orton kicked out. So then you get the X Factor, or the middle rope rolling X Factor that Ali does. And then later in the match, a couple minutes later, he tries to do that again. Caught with the RKO. 1, 2, 3. Awesome finish. Ali went to the well one too many times. Really fun. I enjoyed it. Then we had another random match that they just announced on Sunday. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defending their women's tag team championships against the Kabuki Warriors. Kabuki Warriors were working as heels in this match. It was really funny. Kairi Sane was doing her walk the plank thing, and as she's doing it, she quickly pokes Nikki in the eyes and then runs. It was really good. Asuka was great throughout this. They looked motivated because towards the end of the match, Nikki is distracted by something going on outside. She turns around to Asuka. Asuka spits the green mist into her face. Yes, the green mist from Asuka. And then a big kick to the side of the head. 1, 2, 3. The Kabuki Warriors are your new women's tag team championships. Women's tag team champions. Sorry, I'm extremely tired if you haven't already if you haven't already noticed. I got home around the same time that the pay-per-view was done. So I started the pay-per-view after it was already done. I got done with the pay-per-view at about 1:30, 2 o'clock. That's why this review is coming out so late. Anyway, then I had class this morning, of course. We had the OC versus the Viking Raiders and a mystery partner in a 6-man match. The mystery partner ended up being Braun Strowman. I thought that was a cool moment. I thought it was going to be Cedric. Kind of glad it wasn't. But this was cool. Good stuff. The match ended because the OC were beating down Strowman too much. And it wasn't even that bad of a beat down. They each threw a kick each on Strowman, and then they threw out the match. And then there was just a big brawl to end. But this match barely meant anything. What actually meant something was Styles going for the phenomenal forearm after the match. But Braun Strowman, KO punched him out of the air. And Styles sold it like a KO punch. And this was significant because then Strowman was standing in the ring after the match holding up a fist, knocked him out. And then he's the commentators are putting over that was a message sent to Tyson Fury. Okay, I guess we're getting Strowman versus Tyson Fury on Crown Jewel. I really might not watch Crown Jewel. Honestly, if someone out there wants me to review it, I will. But I think I might stay away from it. We'll see. Styles was the best part of this segment and possibly the best thing of this show. Styles selling the knockout afterwards. The face is left and OC's trying to help AJ out and AJ's just stumbling. So comedically. He looked phenomenal. No pun intended. He just looked great. Stumbling and bumbling and just no, I'm fine. And then he'd trip on something. AJ looked really good. Oh, yeah. So we had the Street Profits doing their narrating thing, and then all of a sudden, R-Truth and Carmella walked in. Tamina rolled up Carmella to win the 24/7 championship. Yes, you heard me right. Tamina. Nobody's meaner than Tamina. New 24/7 champion. Later in the night, when they're doing the foreign announced teams, they get to Funaki, right? And Carmella and R-Truth are chasing Tamina. R-Truth, like Funaki like protects Tamina, and R-Truth goes into a karate pose. God, this isn't okay. He goes into karate pose, and then Funaki does it back. Kung Funaki's a thing again. Oh my. Anyway, Carmella got a super kick on Tamina. R-Truth won the title back off of Tamina. R-Truth is your champion again. I couldn't care less about that anymore. We had Chad Gable versus King Corbin next. King Corbin cut a promo before the match about how, more short jokes. You'll never be half the man that I am. You'll never be man enough to beat me, I think is what the line was. Gable charges out, took him out with a few big moves to start, and then we had what was very much like the TV matches that they've had over the past couple weeks, including the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. This was a great match. These two have phenomenal chemistry together. I really enjoyed all of this stuff. This was honestly really good match. I was really enjoying this pay-per-view until that main event. I really was, except for the Tamina stuff. Although at that point, because I was enjoying it, I was kind of laughing. I was like, what the, like Tamina? What? Okay. Oh yeah, and before the match, Corbin anointed or made a decree or whatever that Gable's new name is Shorty Gable. Shorty G is now becoming a thing. And yes, when Corbin went to grab his scepter to try to cheat to win, Gable ducked it, rolled him up for the win. And Greg Hamilton said, "Your winner, Shorty Gable." Damn it, Hamilton. I love you, Greg, but you're oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, this was good, but then after the match, Gable was getting interviewed, and he was like, yeah, you can call me short all you want. Like, I don't care anymore, because now we know who the bigger man is. And he's walking away all cocky, and I was like, yeah, give the babyface something, give him a win for the night. Make him look strong. And almost like they heard me, as soon as I was done with that sentence, Baron Corbin comes out of a separate hallway and beats up Gable. Stupid. This 50-50 bullshit. The babyface has to get lucky on a roll-up to win, and then he gets beaten up after the match. He looks like a freaking nerd. Then we had Charlotte versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This was a really good match. That's all I could say. There wasn't anything special in this match, but it is just really good because both of these women are very good. That's all I have to say. Charlotte was working the leg all match, and eventually she locked in the figure eight to win her 10th championship. She is now the current SmackDown Women's Champion, and she is now a 10-time Women's Champion. She's going to tie her father at least. And I said this when they were doing the Sasha feud. Like 4 years? I don't even know how long ago that was, but when they were flopping the titles back and forth, I said they're going to have her tie her father. And now it's coming to fruition. She's at 10 already. Good God. And then we had the main event. I think I talked more about the main event. Like, I talked longer about the main event than I did the rest of the show. Look, listen, the show was decent before this. If I had to, I'll give this show a 2 out of 5. If it was a better finish, honestly, if the Fiend wins, I might have given this a 4 or a 5. But because of Seth retaining, because of Seth technically winning, and because of how they did it, it totally negates everything else that happens. It's how you leave a crowd. And when you leave a crowd that pissed off and that just absolutely disrespected like that, you ruin the show. I urge you, if you haven't already, go onto Figure 4 online, or go to their YouTube channel, f4w.com online, whatever it is. Brian Alvarez does about a 9-minute rant about how WWE hates their audience, and it's phenomenal. I urge you to listen to it. It's worth the listen, I promise. But that's all the time I have for today. Hell in a Cell was a 2 out of 5. not looking forward to Raw tonight. Thank you all for listening. Please subscribe on Twitter and on YouTube and on anywhere you listen to your podcast. My name is KO, and I will see you for the next 3 Count review.
Pulling up strong, I'm nearly as one. I might be too on. Wishing inside I could feel so numb. Oh, now that you're gone away, you feel it in the night. You want what's underneath. It's alright, no